Ladies, let me tell you something. Not everyone who smiles at you is for you. Not everyone who claps when you win is celebrating your success. And not everyone who asks how you're doing is hoping you're doing well. In this life, if you don't protect your energy, they will drain you dry and leave you wondering why you feel empty. You have to understand access to you is a privilege, not a right. And the sooner you accept that, the freer you'll be. You see, the most valuable currency you own isn't your money. It's not your job title. It's not the bag you carry or the house you live in. It's your energy, because where your energy flows, life grows. What you feed with your energy will bloom, but what you allow to siphon your energy, those toxic people, those draining conversations, those soul-suffocating environments, they will rob you of your clarity, your peace, your purpose. And the worst part, most of the time you don't even realize it's happening. That's how subtle it is. You keep letting people back in because you've got a good heart. You give them one more chance because you believe in loyalty. You answer that phone call, return that text, show up for them again and again because you were raised to care. But at some point, you've got to stop confusing loyalty with self-betrayal. You've got to stop calling it love when it's really a leech. Because the truth is, not everyone deserves access. They don't deserve access to your joy when they've only ever brought chaos. They don't deserve access to your peace when they've only ever shown up in crisis. They don't deserve access to your time when they've never respected your boundaries. Let me make this plain. You are not an emotional ATM. You are not a fixer for broken people who refuse to heal. You are not a comfort zone for people who only show up when they need something. You are a divine force, a radiant soul, and when you walk in your light, you have to be vigilant about who gets to stand in your sun. Because here's what happens when you don't protect your energy. You start shrinking, you stop dreaming, you stop creating, you stop believing in yourself, and before you know it, you're running on empty, giving your best to people who never deserved your presence in the first place. You think you're being strong by enduring it, but the strongest thing you can do is say no more. The strongest thing you can do is cut access. Some people only love you when you're small because your growth threatens their comfort. Your healing exposes their wounds. Your boundaries remind them they can no longer manipulate you. That's why they act different when you start acting different. That's why they pull away when you pull up. But don't chase them. Let them go, because the real ones will respect your energy. They'll honor your growth. They'll clap when you win and sit with you when you lose. They'll correct you in love and speak life into your purpose. They don't drain you. They pour into you. They don't compete. They collaborate. They don't guilt trip you. They guide you. That's the kind of access you want to allow. But let me say this, protecting your energy isn't just about cutting people off. It's about choosing you every day. It's about checking in with yourself before checking in with the world. It's about asking, how do I feel right now? Before asking, what do they need from me? It's about creating sacred space in your life for rest, for joy, for silence, for healing. It's about saying no, not with guilt, but with conviction. Because if you don't teach people how to treat you, they will teach you how to tolerate their disrespect. Disrespect. You owe yourself more than that. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself sleep at night. You owe yourself mornings that don't start with anxiety and nights that don't end in exhaustion. And yes, I know it's hard. I know it feels selfish. I know you've been taught that being a good person means always being available. But being good doesn't mean being depleted. Being kind doesn't mean being used. There is nothing virtuous about burning out for people who wouldn't light a match for you. You are not cold for walking away. You are not cruel for enforcing your boundaries. You are not bitter for healing from betrayal. You are wise, because let me tell you something else. Your energy is your compass. If someone constantly makes you feel small, anxious, overlooked, disrespected, that's not a connection, that's a warning. That's your spirit saying, this isn't right. Stop ignoring the sign. Stop spiritualizing dysfunction. Stop staying where you are only tolerated when you could be thriving somewhere you are celebrated. You don't need a room full of people clapping fake. You need a handful of people praying real. And if that means your circle gets smaller, good. Let it shrink, because a tight circle is better than a toxic crowd. You don't need quantity. You need quality. You don't need noise. You need nourishment. And while we're here, protect your energy from yourself too, from your negative self-talk, from your fear, from your own self-doubt. Sometimes the most dangerous access you can give is to the lies you keep telling yourself. Lies like I'm not enough. Lies like they'll never respect me if I set boundaries. Lies like I have to earn love. No, you don't. You're already worthy, already valuable, already enough. So start acting like it. Walk like it. Speak like it. Choose like it. You don't have to explain your standards. You don't have to beg people to do right by you. And you don't have to feel guilty for evolving beyond what no longer fits your spirit. You can outgrow people and still love them from a distance. From a distance. Protect your energy in conversations. Not every argument is worth your breath. Not every invitation is meant to be accepted. Protect your energy in your routine. What you consume online, on the news, in your playlists, it all shapes your mind. Protect your energy at your job. You weren't born to be miserable Monday through Friday. And protect your energy in your relationships. If love costs you your peace, that's not love. That's bonding. Start showing up for yourself like you show up for others. Start making deposits into your soul the way you pour into everyone else. And don't wait for burnout to teach you what boundaries should have already taught you. Because once your spirit breaks, rebuilding it is a long road. But you don't have to get there. You can stop today. You can take your power back today. Remember this, you are not hard to love. You are not too much. You are not difficult. You are just finally refusing to give yourself away to people who don't value the gift. That's growth. That's healing. That's elevation. So if you're listening to this right now and you feel tired, not just in your body but in your spirit, let this be your wake-up call. Protect your energy. Not everyone deserves access. And from this moment forward, they don't get it unless they've earned it. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to plead for someone to see your worth. If they couldn't see it before you protected your peace, they were never meant to walk with you in the first place. Keep rising, keep shining, keep choosing you. Because once you learn to protect your energy, you'll start to attract people who protect it too. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to walk away from what no longer serves you? Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. We hold on so tightly to the people, the titles, the history, the illusion of loyalty, that we forget letting go is sometimes the most loving thing you can do, loving for you. Because when you love yourself, you don't let just anyone take up space in your heart, your mind, or your day. Listen to me, you do not owe anyone access to the healed version of you who broke yourself into pieces trying to hold them together. You do not owe them forgiveness without accountability. You do not owe them another explanation, another conversation, another opportunity to cross lines they never should have touched in the first place. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself silence. You owe yourself boundaries that are not just spoken but enforced. Because boundaries without consequences, that's not protection, that's performance. You can't keep preaching peace while entertaining chaos. You can't claim healing while letting the same wounds reopen just because someone said, I've changed. Let them change on their own, away from your energy, away from your healing. Growth isn't about who you can save. Growth is about who you can release. Because sometimes God is trying to elevate you, but you keep tethering yourself to people who don't want to climb. You keep revisiting lessons you already learned just because the face is familiar. But let me tell you, familiarity does not equal loyalty, and comfort does not equal alignment. You weren't born to stay in rooms just because they're familiar. You were born to expand, and expansion requires energy. Expansion requires clarity. Expansion requires solitude. Sometimes a season of pruning, a season of separation, a season where your circle gets quiet so your purpose can get loud. And don't be afraid of that quiet. Don't rush back into noise just because the silence feels unfamiliar. Growth is quiet, peace is quiet, discipline is quiet. Do not mistake the absence of chaos for the absence of love. Some of the most beautiful chapters in your life will begin when you decide to stop entertaining what keeps breaking you. Protect your energy from comparison, from thinking you're behind just because someone else is ahead. Your timeline is not broken. Your pace is not slow. You're not late. You're learning. You're healing. You're building something real, and real takes time. You're unlearning years of patterns that didn't serve you. That takes energy, and that energy must be guarded. Guarded from people who only check on you when they're bored. Guarded from people who want the benefits of your light without doing the work to deserve your presence. Guarded from situations that drain your confidence, your creativity, your convictions. Because the longer you stay in the wrong space, the more you start to question whether your light was ever real. But it was real, it is real, and it's still in you. It's just been buried under years of noise. So let this be the year you silence it, the year you say, I'm done playing, the year you stop over-explaining, over-apologizing, over-giving, the year you stop justifying why you need space, rest, boundaries, healing, the year you understand not everyone deserves access, and the ones who do, they won't ask you to shrink. They won't ask you to sacrifice your peace. They won't guilt trip you into staying when your soul says leave. They will protect your energy with you. They will match your frequency. They will bring peace into the room, not tension. They will pour back into you without you having to beg. That's what love looks like. That's what respect feels like. And you deserve that. You've always deserved that. But to receive it, you've got to stop giving your all to people who only give you back fragments. Stop being available to people who only show up when it's convenient. Stop offering grace to people who abuse it. Your grace is powerful, but it's not infinite, and it's not free. It costs you something. It costs you time. It costs you sleep. It costs you trust. So don't just hand it out like candy. Make people earn your peace, your presence, your energy. Because here's the truth. And it might hurt, but it's healing. If they only loved you when you were accessible, they never truly loved you. They loved your availability. They loved your usefulness. They loved the way you made them feel. That's not love, that's convenience. Real love is mindful. Real love is intentional. Real love sees you, holds you, respects your boundaries, and still wants to stay. So stop settling for access without effort. Stop settling for presence without purpose. Stop calling it friendship when it feels like a transaction. Stop calling it support when it only shows up when you're down, never when you're rising. Your rise will threaten the unhealed. Let it. Your boundaries will offend the entitled. Let them. Your joy will confuse the bitter. Let it. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are not here to dim yourself for their comfort. You are here to live in alignment, to speak with power, to love with intention, and to guard your spirit like the treasure it is. Because your energy, that's your superpower. And the moment you protect it, the moment you truly protect it, your whole world begins to shift. So what do you do when you finally realize you've been the anchor in everyone else's storm, but no one's ever held the umbrella for you? What do you do when you wake up one day and realize the weight you're carrying doesn't even belong to you? It's borrowed, inherited, dumped on you by people who never asked if you were strong enough to hold it. You release it. You stop signing emotional contracts you didn't agree to. You stop saying yes just to avoid their silence. You stop pretending that being drained is normal just because you've lived in survival mode for too long. You start listening to the quiet voice inside that says, I deserve more than this. You start moving with purpose, not obligation. You start choosing your peace over their comfort and your joy over their approval. Because here's the thing, emotional debt is just as real as financial debt. And when you're constantly covering for other people's instability, it robs you of the credit you need to build your own emotional wealth. You can't build a future when your president is bleeding energy. You can't design your dream life when your boundaries are in shambles. So let me tell you clearly, it's okay to put yourself first. It's necessary. You've spent enough time overextending, overfunctioning, overcompensating. That's not strength. That's fear dressed in responsibility. That's not connection. That's obligation misbranded as loyalty. Let go of the pressure to prove you're worthy by sacrificing yourself. Worthiness isn't earned through exhaustion. It's recognized through alignment. Start asking new questions. Ask yourself, who in my life brings clarity and who brings confusion? Who multiplies my peace and who subtracts from it? Who respects my no and who pushes past it like it's negotiable? These answers won't lie to you. They won't flatter your illusions. They'll expose the truth. And once you see it, don't look away, because patterns unaddressed become prisons. And some of us are not tired because life is hard. We're tired because we're imprisoned by people pleasing. You owe no one your burnout, not your family, not your friends, not your past, and certainly not anyone who has built their comfort around your silence. You were not created to be convenient. You were created to be whole, and wholeness requires solitude, discernment, and the willingness to disappoint others in order to stay true to yourself. Stop waiting for permission to protect your peace. Stop handing over the keys to your life because you're afraid of being misunderstood. You will be misunderstood. That's a given. But misunderstanding is easier to recover from than regret. And regret is exactly what's waiting for you if you keep giving unqualified people VIP access to your soul. You don't let just anyone into your house. So why are you letting them into your mind, your energy, your spirit without vetting them first? Start seeing yourself as the gatekeeper of something sacred, because you are. You are the protector of your peace, the curator of your environment, the leader of your life. And with leader of your life, and with leader of your life, and with leadership comes decision. Not everyone qualifies. Just because they've been around for years doesn't mean they've earned a future. Longevity does not equal loyalty. Proximity does not equal purpose. Let history be history. You don't owe your future to the ghosts of your past. And yes, sometimes that means letting go of people you love, because love without respect becomes a cage. Let them be angry. Let them misunderstand. Let them talk. What they say about your boundaries is none of your business. What you say to yourself, that's what matters. That's where the power is. You have to live with your own mind at night, so make sure it's a sanctuary, not a battlefield. Start becoming intentional about your space. Your room should feel like peace. Your friendship should feel like clarity. Your morning should feel like purpose. And your energy should feel protected. Build routines that fill you up instead of drain you dry. Choose environments where your presence is honored, not used. Align with people who don't just want access. They want to grow with you, pray for you, challenge you, and protect you too. Because real alignment doesn't deplete you, it refuels you. It reminds you of who you are when you forget. It holds you up, not just when you fall, but when you rise, especially when you rise. Because you will rise. You are rising. Every time you say no when you used to say yeah. Every time you choose rest instead of resentment. Every time you hold your boundary, even when it trembles, that is you rising. And not everyone can go with you. Some people only understand you when you're broken. They only connect with you when you're doubting yourself. They were never aligned with your healed version, and that's okay. They were chapters, not the whole story. Let them close, because you're walking into a new season, one where your peace is not negotiable, one where your energy is not discounted, one where your presence is not handed out like free samples. You are done apologizing for needing space. You are done shrinking for people who refuse to grow. You are done explaining yourself to people who made up their minds before you spoke. Protect your energy. If it costs your peace, it's too expensive. If it makes you question your worth, it's not love. If it robs you of rest, joy, and clarity, it's not your assignment. This is your permission, not from me, from you, from the version of you that's been waiting to finally breathe, to finally step back, to finally stop saving people who are committed to their own chaos. You are not their lifeline. You are not their therapist. You are not their savior. You are a whole, beautiful, deserving soul, and that's enough. So from this day forward, access to you must come with responsibility. It must come with consistency. It must come with reverence for who you are and what you carry, because your energy is gold, and gold should never be tossed to people who only show up when it shines. You've probably noticed it by now. The moment you start healing, your tolerance drops. Conversations you once entertained now feel like noise. Relationships you once clung to begin to feel heavy, and situations you once tolerated suddenly feel suffocating. That's not you being difficult. That's you evolving. That's you finally recognizing that your spirit was never meant to live in survival mode. And once you've tasted peace, chaos becomes unacceptable. It's not arrogance. It's awareness. It's self-respect. It's choosing alignment over attachment. Because let's be honest, some of us have stayed far too long in spaces that were familiar but not fulfilling. We confused predictability with safety. We confused obligation with purpose. But just because you've known someone for 10 years doesn't mean they deserve to walk into your next chapter. Because here's the truth, nobody likes to say out loud. Some connections are seasonal, and when you try to turn seasonal people into permanent fixtures, you end up blocking your own blessings. You can't take everyone with you. Elevation requires separation, not in anger, not in bitterness, but in discernment. Not everyone can breathe at your altitude, and some of them will resent you just for trying, because your growth shines a light on their stagnation. Your healing exposes what they've refused to confront. Your peace reminds them they're still addicted to drama. Don't let that pull you back in. You don't have to lower your frequency to be understood. You don't have to compromise your peace to be liked. You don't have to explain your standards to people who benefit from your lack of them. You just have to protect your energy. And sometimes that means walking away quietly. No announcement, no performance, no closure, just clarity, just a decision that you are done participating in your own depletion. It takes courage to outgrow what once felt like home, but peace doesn't always come with comfort. Sometimes peace arrives when you finally say, I can't keep doing this to myself. And let's talk about that, the quiet daily self-abandonment we engage in to keep the peace, to avoid the tension, to prevent the disappointment. We silence our needs. We dismiss our feelings. We stretch ourselves until we snap, all in the name of being agreeable. But where does that leave you? Exhausted, overstimulated, emotionally bankrupt, smiling on the outside while silently breaking on the inside. That's not peace. That's performance. And performance is draining. You can't build a life pretending to be fine. You can't protect your energy while constantly putting yourself last. You are allowed to be soft and strong. You are allowed to be kind and assertive. You are allowed to love people deeply and still walk away when they cannot meet you in truth. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Don't wait until the betrayal to decide they didn't deserve your trust. Don't wait until the breakdown to acknowledge the relationship was never mutual. Don't wait until your body forces rest to recognize you've been running on fumes. Learn to exit when peace leaves the room. not because you're fragile, but because you finally understand your value. You finally understand that not everyone will appreciate what you bring to the table. And that's okay. You don't have to shrink to fit someone's limited vision. You don't have to dim to make them feel brighter. You don't have to stay where love has to be earned. Love is not something you should work yourself into exhaustion to receive. And while we're here, let's make something clear. The version of you that tolerated disrespect, entertained dysfunction, and accepted less than you deserved, she's gone. She served her purpose. She taught you lessons. She helped you survive. But now you are building. You are restoring. You are walking in a version of yourself that no longer finds comfort in pain. You are no longer at war with your intuition. You are no longer seeking validation in broken places. You've outgrown the noise and the silence that follows. That's where you meet yourself. That's where you find your rhythm. That's where you heal without audience and grow without applause. That's where you realize your peace is not a luxury. It's your birthright. And protecting it is not negotiable. Because the more you protect your energy, the more clearly you begin to see who's truly for you. You stop chasing closure. You stop over-explaining. You stop begging for reciprocity. You stop making excuses for people's lack of effort. You start recognizing that presence without intention is just noise. You want people who see you, who feel your energy even in your silence, who don't need to be convinced of your worth, who walk beside you, not just when it's easy, but when it's real. And you start to realize something else too. Your solitude is not a punishment. It's preparation. It's sacred space. It's the reset before the rebirth. It's where your soul breathes without interference, because not every connection is nourishment. Some are distractions, some are detours, some are disguised lessons. And it's up to you to know the difference. So slow down, stop rushing back to what broke you just because it's familiar. Let the stillness teach you. Let the discomfort stretch you. Let the season of protection be your blueprint for elevation. And when you do return to community, when you do open your heart again, let it be from a place of overflow. Not survival. Let it be from strength, not scarcity. You don't have to earn your place in anyone's life. You don't have to apologize for evolving. You don't have to feel guilty for being selective. You don't owe access to people who mishandled you. Your energy is your sanctuary. Treat it like sacred ground. Guard it like legacy. Honor it like royalty. Because when your energy is aligned, your life begins to mirror that alignment. You begin attracting people who see your light and protect it, opportunities that match your preparation, moments that feel like confirmation instead of confusion. And that is the reward of protecting your energy. You stop chasing what was never yours, and you start receiving what was always meant for you. And when the shift begins, you'll feel it before you see it. Suddenly, conversations that used to thrill you start to sound hollow. Environments that once made you feel important now feel suffocating. People you once chased start to fade into the background, not because they changed, but because you did. That's the power of protecting your energy. It refines your taste for alignment. You stop craving noise. You stop entertaining empty validation. You begin seeking substance, depth over distraction, truth over appearances. You begin filtering every interaction through a single sacred question. Does this feel like peace? Because peace isn't passive. It's a decision. It's a daily discipline. It's choosing to protect your space even when it's lonely. Because you've learned that being alone and being at peace is better than being surrounded and slowly dying inside. Too many people are crowded but disconnected, popular but hollow. Loved in public, but unloved in private. Don't let that be you. Build a life that feels good when no one's watching. Create a rhythm that aligns with your soul. Choose people who honor your truth, not just your talent. Choose relationships where your presence is enough, not your performance. Choose environments that water you, not drain you. And let's get even more real. Protecting your energy also means protecting your goals. How many dreams have you abandoned because you shared them too soon? How many ideas have you buried because the wrong person questioned your vision? Some people aren't dream killers. They're just too small-minded to carry the weight of your purpose. And if you keep placing your vision in the hands of the unqualified, you'll start to doubt what you were born to do. Your purpose requires sacred space. It requires discipline, and it requires silence sometimes. You don't need to announce every move. You don't need to defend every pivot. Sometimes the most powerful progress is quiet. Sometimes the best move is made without noise, without warning, without validation. Work in silence, heal in silence, build in silence. And when it's time to speak, let your results make the noise for you, because when your energy is protected, your direction becomes clear. You stop second-guessing your instincts. You stop settling for less than you deserve. You stop allowing chaos to park itself in your life just because it came dressed in familiarity. You begin to see that clarity is worth more than closeness, that alignment is more valuable than attachment, that a smaller life with deeper peace is more fulfilling than a bigger one built on performance and pretense. You no longer need crowds to feel important. You no longer crave chaos to feel alive. You no longer mistake movement for progress. You become intentional with your time, with your space, with your voice, with your love. And when people start to notice the shift, that they'll have two choices: respect your growth or remove themselves. Either way, you win, because you are no longer available for one-sided effort. You are no longer accessible to anyone who refuses to grow. You are no longer interested in maintaining connections that drain you in the name of loyalty. You can love people deeply and still choose distance. You can care without carrying. You can forgive without returning. That's emotional maturity. That's energetic mastery. That's wisdom. So stop questioning whether you're doing too much by protecting your energy. Start questioning why you tolerated so much for so long, why you accepted apologies without change, why you kept giving to people who never poured back, why you kept justifying relationships that only flourished when you were suffering. That's not love. That's emotional labor masked as connection. And now that you know better, you choose better, not because you're cold, not because you're distant, but because you finally understand that your life is your responsibility, not their opinion, not their approval, not their access. Your peace is the foundation. Your focus is the driver. Your energy is the fuel. Protect it like it's your last breath, because in a way, it is. Every day you give your energy away to things that deplete you is a day stolen from your purpose, your progress, your potential. And you have too much to do. You have too much to become. You have too much inside you to waste another moment entertaining people who confuse proximity with privilege. Let them think what they want. Let them gossip. Let them judge. None of that touches your truth. The people who matter, they feel your shift. They honor your silence. They respect your space. They pray for you in your absence. They protect your name when you're not in the room. Those are your people. Keep them close. But everyone else, let them find someone else to drain. You've done your time. You've learned the lessons. You've paid the price. Now it's time to reclaim your energy, to move with intention, to build with wisdom, to love with boundary, and to shine with discernment. This life you're building, it's yours. So fill it with joy, fill it with laughter, fill it with rest, fill it with growth. Fill it with presence, fill it with healing, fill it with people who look you in the eye and say, I see you, I respect you, I've got you. And leave no room for anything less, because once you protect your energy, something powerful happens. You stop looking for love and you start attracting it. You stop begging for peace and you start embodying it. You stop chasing validation and you start walking in truth. You stop surviving and you start living. So from this moment forward, let this be your vow. I will no longer hand out access to my heart. my mind, my spirit, or my energy without discernment. I will no longer explain my peace to people who thrive on conflict. I will no longer apologize for boundaries I needed to survive. I am done performing. I am done shrinking. I am done abandoning myself for acceptance. I am whole. I am worthy. I am protected. And only those who honor that will be allowed to stay.